the re-release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. I bought it, and I've actually already played it a couple times. And
does it still have Primus in it? Oh, if it doesn't, man,
and the Dead Boys.
Done.
Is it the same music?
I know that they...
It better be the same music. That's what made it.
Yeah, it's just Cardi B.
It's all...
no.
It's every song
it's Cardi B vehicle.
from the first 2 games except for 3 songs. I can't remember which 3 songs
And it's
they are.
Nickelback. Look at this photograph.
Christ. No, I wouldn't buy it if that wasn't included. No, there's like 3 tracks that are not included in this revamped. Everything else is there, and they added a bunch of newer music too.
All right, well, it better be... Jerry was a race car driver. It better be in that game.
Was that in the first 2?
Yes. It was in the first one. I don't know about the second one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Within the first 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Just plays the crying game the whole time. That'd be the most whack skateboarding game ever.
I know all there is to know about the crying game.
Kickflips are sad.
On this special Halloween 2-part episode of the MacGuffin Guild, we're going to hang out at the Titty Twister from dusk till dawn. This 1996 film starring George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis, Salma Hayek, Cheech Marin, Tom Savini, Fred Williamson, Danny Trejo, and John Saxon, directed by Robert Rodriguez. We're going to talk about the Gecko Brothers, vampire legends and lore, Tarantino's acting chops, questionable vampire transitions, and horror movie gore effects. We'll discuss MacGuffin Guild, Tom Savini's Sex Machine, 5'3" of snow, and George Clooney's career, as well as places that weren't as they seemed. Over shots of Ol Granddad, we'll talk about Pat's earth-altering theory entitled Eggs is Like Electricity. I'm Pat Dougherty, and as always, I'll be joined by my fellow MacGuffins, Justin Jones and Mike Antonio. Our theme song was written and performed by Jordan Vincent. Warning, nerd alert ahead on this special 2-part episode of From Dusk Till Dawn.
You better than this.
Welcome to another episode of the MacGuffin Guild. My name is Pat Dougherty, and as always, I am with my fellow guild members, Mr. Justin Jones. Justin, what's going on?
Everything that's good. Why am I always caught off guard every time? Like, you've been sitting here talking for an hour.
Well, no, that's good though. That everything that's good is going on. I mean,
it's not even. That's not even true. It's words that were in my head. I just said them.
Well, I'm glad that you're good.
No, everything sucks. I'm just kidding. No, it's good.
Well, that's good, I guess.
It's good that everything sucks.
It's good that everything sucks. Well, we're alive. So
are we,
there's that.
That's the moment.
We're alive in hell.
Nice, honey.
Yeah.
And also, as always, is Mr. Mike Antonio.
Why are you throwing a mister in there? It's making me sound like an old man.
I mean, you're kind of getting there.
Oh, shit.
So
I do applaud that you didn't get caught off guard. I was like jealous. I was like, oh, he didn't get caught off guard.
Man.
But he didn't know the mister was coming, and
That's
he just
true.
reacted.
I just roll with it.
I have cat-like reflexes.
Yeah.
I have cat-like verbal reflexes. I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I just proved that I don't. So...
The film we did this week is From Dusk Till Dawn. Yes. 1996, correct?
Yes.
Written by Robert Kurtzman. Actually, story by Robert Kurtzman.
Yes.
Screenplay by Tarantino.
Correct.
The great Tarantino. Directed by Robert Rodriguez. Starring Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Juliette Lewis, amongst many others.
Quentin Tarantino.
In the genre. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
Tom Savini.
Tom Savini, yeah.
Fred Williams.
Fred Williams.
Fred Williamson, right?
Yeah, Williamson.
We both said Fred Williamson.
I was getting ready to say Fred Williamson. You said Fred Williams. I was like, fuck, I almost said it wrong.
Yeah.
So to give let's see first here what Rotten Tomatoes ranked them as. So on the tomato meter, out of 49 cases, 63%. And audience score out of 273,000 user ratings. 76%.
Wow. Okay.
So it's definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
To give a range of reviews here, I'm going to bounce around here because some of these reviews, although overall they're given positives, the sentences they've kind of plucked out to showcase here do not always represent that. So I want to be clear. So this is a positive, given an overall B- by Owen Gleiberman from Entertainment Weekly. Imagine two movies plucked from opposite sides of the video store. No, I agree with that, actually.
But that's the point.
I agree with that. And I actually want to talk about that a little bit, but we'll get to that momentarily. Jonathan Rosenbaum from Chicago Reader says, on a mindless exploitation level, this is pretty good, but on other levels, it seems to make promises that it fails to deliver on. Felix Vasquez Jr. from Cinema Crazed. This is the Reservoir Dogs with a twist of Near Dark set to the tune of Assault on Precinct 13.
Well, damn. That's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah. Emmanuel Levy from EmmanuelLevy.com, fitting, says, based on an...
Wow, that's strange.
Very ironic.
Wow.
Based on an early Tarantino script, Rodriguez's movie is an incoherent B-pick in which the sensibilities of the two filmmakers clash.
Incoherent? I completely disagree.
Even back when I didn't like this movie, I would never call it incoherent.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm getting so high-pitched.
This is from Film 4, energetic, low-budget vampire nonsense from Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
I liked the beginning of that sentence, and then I was like, okay.
Steve Biodrowski from Cinema Fantastique says, it is a shame to see so much good talent given such low-yield results.
Actually, I like that it's a lot of talent given low-yield results. No, I'm just kidding. I like that it's like...
it's exactly
big stars and stuff doing something fun.
It's exactly what it's.
Here we go. I'm going to get you fired up. David Hunter from Hollywood Reporter. Rodriguez pushes the envelope but fails to make any lasting impression except revulsion at the spectacle of acclaimed independent filmmakers wasting their talents on such trash.
Fuck out of here, you dick. Who's this guy?
David Hunter from the Hollywood Reporter.
He shares my middle name, and I don't like him.
Yeah. Todd McCarthy from Variety says...
I thought you were going to say Todd McFarlane.
No, McCarthy. A deliriously trashy, exuberantly vulgar, lavishly appointed exploitation picture, this weird combo of roadkill movie and martial arts vampire gore fest is made to order for the stimulation of teenage boys.
I mean, yeah. He's not wrong. Is that a criticism? Or was that...
It's hard to tell. Some of these that are listed as negative seem somewhat positive, and some that are listed as positive seem kind of negative.
Like, that doesn't seem negative at all. Was that supposed to be in the negative category?
That was, no, it was a positive.
Oh, I was going to say. Okay, I thought you...
I mean, unless there's something wrong with the opinion of teenage boys, I'm not sure.
Well, this teenage boy, at the time that he first saw this movie, yeah, it was made for me. It was.
Yeah. So obviously this film was rated R, 107 minutes long, Dimension Films. So Mike, this was your selection.
Correct.
So obviously there is a special place in your heart.
Yes.
For this film.
I'm a huge fan of this one, and I know I tend to say that, like, and we talked about this before the show, like, I love Tank Girl, which is another film we talked about, but this one is leagues beyond that one. This is like... You always hear people say, like, comfort movies. This is one for me.
Is it because you're a Quentin Fanantino?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
I am. But this one is, like, so... It's just so fun. It's light.
All right, so Robert Kurtzman, let's talk about him a little bit.
Sure.
He's directed a little bit, he's written a little bit, but primarily he's an effects guy.
Yeah. He's part of K&B.
Yes.
He is one of the effects guys.
Yeah.
And he's done a ton of stuff. In fact, he's done stuff more recently with my boy... Mike Flanagan, who I am a fan again.
Oh, yeah?
He did Dr. Sleep. He did The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
I feel like there was another one.
Just him solo? Because K&B is not... Are they still, like, a thing, or are they all separate now?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't keep up with things like I wish I did.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you were saying that this is a favorite of yours.
It's a comfort movie.
Yeah.
Like, I can watch this anytime. I really, really can. Like, and there was a time period in my teens, probably, when this came. I mean, what, 96? So I want to give away my age again. So I was like 17-ish when this came out. 16, 17.
Yeah.
Perfect age for this movie. To, you know. as a fan of horror films, and Tarantino already at that point.
Well, this is what I will say. Tarantino's character was creepy AF.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they did a very good job in a very short amount of time to paint that picture. They made it pretty clear.
Yeah, I think
Richard Gecko.
Yes, and then Seth Gecko is George Clooney. And I like that dynamic between the two of them. They're brothers, and they clearly like are very close. But man, Seth Gecko, Tarantino, he's got some serious issues. Like, I mean, or I'm sorry, Richie.
Yeah.
Seth is
Clooney.
Yeah, and Seth, he's a criminal, but he's a thief. He's a professional thief. He even says in a movie, he doesn't kill anybody that he doesn't have to. Like, he'll only kill you if you're standing in his path of getting free, basically. Which, still a bad guy, but at least he has like somewhat of a code of ethics. But Richie is just a loose cannon, man.
Yeah,
he can't control his urges.
A sexual fiend.
Yeah, he just can't control himself. But George Clooney, or Seth, really is trying to help him. He wants him to get better.
I wonder. Okay.
I don't think. Yeah.
No, go on.
He does, but I don't. I think he has accepted the fact that he's just fucked up. And I feel like all his reactions are just him reacting as a normal person that would react to that.
No, you know what? I think you're talking about Clooney's character.
Yeah. Because like even in the scene coming up when he's like, "What the fuck?" and he's like, "You're a fucking piece of shit," and he like goes off on him. He doesn't say that. Like he acted a little bit better than I did, but
I don't know. I think that was pretty good.
I was kind of on. I've been practicing, but I think like he really just like his gut reaction was just to go off and just like, "Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit," and then he realizes he doesn't want to be like this way to his brother. But I think deep down inside he realizes and it'll never change.
I always felt it was more selfish. I felt that the fact that Clooney's character was so accepting of Tarantino's character was a negative for Clooney in that he's willing to... He has so little trusted, loyal companionship that the only place he can get it from is his fucked up brother, because it's the only person he can trust. And
yeah,
it's like a codependency, like because they're so
true.
fucked up that they're codependent on each other.
But I think, and to be honest with you, I thought that was kind of their point, is showing that this fucking Quentin Tarantino character is so fucked up, and Clooney's still bringing him along. Yeah. Like, if he's trying to be a quote-unquote well-respected thief or, criminal and not, like, walk the line but not kick the door in all the time, then why even have this guy around? What is he bringing to the table? I think the only thing he's bringing to the table is...
Loyalty?
Yeah.
Is that, and that's it.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, he's such an abrasive person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
Like, he's charming and charismatic to a degree, but he's also very grating and very, like, selfish and stuff like that it probably doesn't attract a lot of people that stick around very long. Yeah. So, the fact... Yeah, exactly. That they're kind of...
I love that they were eating Kahuna burgers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. But, yeah, this movie is... It's... God... I could go on... Well, I couldn't really go on. I'll just keep repeating the same thing.
Yeah,
but
you should.
We talked about it off mic. Justin, you were not a fan of this movie.
No.
So you watched it again.
And again.
And then this is what?
I have a history with this.
This is like your third time seeing it?
This is probably... I may have watched it more times. Like, when it first came out and it was playing all the time and you go over to someone's house and watch it, I may have seen it more than 3 times. But there's 3 eras I watched this thing. When it first came out, I watched it and I'm like, whatever. I was like, I don't really like this. There was no need for me to watch this again. Yeah. So then I watched it a year or so ago, and I was like, let me watch it again with new eyes, new fresh eyes. I'm away from it. I can remove it from the times it's in.
You had an eye replacement?
Yeah.
Cool.
There's an accident. I don't want to really get into it. We'll get all offline. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's difficult. But then I watched it recently for this, and this third time I watched it, I finally It finally clicked with me.
I want to ask you.
Okay.
Because you mentioned that there was something in this movie that bothered you, but you were able to let it go.
Yeah.
And you were able to enjoy it. I'm curious what that is.
It was a few things, but it was one main thing. So one thing is I can't stand, like, well, that's not true. To a degree, I can't really tolerate, like, the super macho, like, thing where it's just like, I'm like, my biggest flaw is that I'm too badass, like, you know what I mean, kind of thing, like you know what I mean, like, I feel like those characters aren't very dynamic, and it's just like this machismo that's just like everywhere, and it's like, okay, I get it, everybody's fucking swinging their dicks around, I get it, which I'll get back to. Not the swinging dicks, but the whole machismo thing. And the second thing is, I realized one thing, especially in the 90s, when this came out in the mid-90s, because, like, vampire movies and vampires in general were huge. And I'm a big fan of vampires. I think they're awesome. Not in real life. They suck. Just kidding. That was a bad joke. We can cut that out. It's no big deal. But
you know what people tell me? I suck.
I suck. Yeah. Yeah. So there's vampires, and I feel like vampires are cool because they're tragic. They're beautiful. They're alluring. They're ancient. They're powerful. They're like all these things. And I feel like in this
sensual. Did you say
sensual? I said sexual, but sensual was implied.
Was it though?
We can say it. I'll say it's sensual. So they're all these. They're like really deep in the lore and everything that they come from. Like, you know, Dracula when you want, everything. And I think they're very. I always thought they were very deep, and there's like, you know, like I said, something tragic about them. And in here, they're just kind of like zombies. We're like, we're just gonna blow them away.
Oh,
and
sure.
They're kind of powerful, but they're weak at the same time. And I realized
they're just
like
bar hookers.
Yeah, it was just just like, all right, well, they're superpowered and they're strong, but I'm still fighting them off, and I can just kill them with a shotgun. So I don't know why I have these other weapons, and it doesn't matter. And I realized I'm like, you're total, and like when I watched it this time, I'm like, you're completely missing the point of this entire movie.
You are,
which is just sit down, shut the fuck up, and just watch shit explode for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And once I did that, dude, not only was it more fun to watch, I actually then picked up on a lot of the little subtle nuances, like their relationship and all the stuff we already started talking about. And I was like, oh, fuck. And back to the machismo and stuff.
Swinging dicks,
if you will.
Sure.
It actually has a place, too, because we're talking about how he's like a machismo. It's like, oh, how cool I am, and I got this tattoo. But like, he's abrasive, and he's hard to be around. He has to rely on his fucking weirdo brother just for company. You know what I mean? And there's the machismo isn't just there. I feel like there's a little like there's more to it.
Yeah. So I agree with you, and this is Justin. You had said that you kind of separated this film into like 3 eras for, you know, your experience with this film. I think I could separate this film into literally 3 viewings. Okay. I think I've only ever seen it like 3 times.
Really?
And the third time being for this podcast. And
wow, man.
Okay, maybe that's a little unfair. Only 3 times I've seen it all the way through.
Okay.
That's not to say I haven't encountered it and watched 20 minutes here and there. So I've definitely seen large chunks of it over the years, frequently, but to sit down and pay attention and stay focused and take it all in. So it is a fun movie when you just kind of like submerge yourself in that world and you just try to have fun. Well, with the horror of which, by the way, let me say this before I proceed. I really would love to have seen a Gecko Brothers movie before they go to the Titty Twister. I kind of want to see the Clooney character.
Yeah.
I loved, and there was a portion of probably the last time I watched it years ago, I almost wished that they never went to the Titty Twister. Well, I just wanted to see their adventure.
I'll point something out.
Sans vampires.
When I was watching Full Tilt Boogie, which, Justin, I think you were in the bathroom. That's the.
Let's call him out.
That's the. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
That's private time for people.
Whatever.
That's why you put locks on the doors. We're just going to talk about it?
All right, Justin.
Write it down. Cut this shit out.
Justin wasn't in the room during this discussion.
I was maybe on a phone call?
Maybe.
I was peeing. Anyway, what's going on?
I watched Full Tilt Boogie, which is the making of. It's like a feature-length making of. And Robert Rodriguez said, I want people to enjoy the first half of this movie, and even if we never got to the titty twister, they're enjoying that ride, what they're already seeing. Like, that could be a movie in itself. And he did say that.
Yeah,
that was
I
like
totally
his point.
Picked up on that.
That was definitely the point of it.
I wish I got to see more of that. I mean, not the horrific stuff that Tarantino's character was doing, but
that was also part of my problem the first time I saw it. Was I remember watching, I'm like, okay, it's these bank robbers and stuff, and then I was like, okay, I'm invested in this story now. I want to see where it goes. And then it's like, now it's a new story, and I didn't like first time I watched it, I did not digest that well. I was like,
see, I was with it the first time I saw it. I was hip to it. I guess you would say. Is that what the kids say?
I think so. That's what they're still
it's
saying.
totally that's totally it. So there are two things. Can I just be what's the term I'm looking for? Can I be
a dickhead?
A dickhead for a minute.
I don't know if that's what you were going for. I just wanted to call you that.
Two elements, two small nitpicking elements
You can nitpick the shit out of it. Go ahead.
that
That's why we're here.
You can't, because I'll punch you in the face.
there's
But go ahead.
there's literally two little things that just I can't get over, that just don't sit right with me about this whole movie. And I totally I've always taken it for what it was. I enjoy it. I love to see all these, the Tom Savinis of the world just going bucket. They had a blast making this thing.
They did.
They just
Full Tilt Boogie.
all just
You'll see that.
went all in on this, all their skills and experience, and they just had fun, and they got just nasty with all the guts and gore and explosions and all that. Totally get it. But there's two things that I just couldn't get over. One was, I know they were trying to use this moment as a way to paint a picture with, one, how kind of like cutthroat this bar environment was, but also two, how nasty these brothers were. That whole scene with the Cheech character on the steps where Clooney punches him, breaks his finger or whatever, and then Tarantino comes back out, kicks him in the ribs. I was like, that's just, okay, first of all, I don't care how rough the bar is that you're in. If you do that, you're not going to be in there for more than 5 minutes. They're going to come for your asses, not a half hour later, I know that's so stupid and it seems so small, but that moment in that film always like stuck with me. Like,
The timing.
yeah,
Right? The timing.
Or not only that, the so over the top fashion. I get they're trying to like very quickly paint a picture. I totally get it, but does it have to be? I don't know. Couldn't they have done that with? I don't know. I felt like them kicking the ass of an employee of this establishment, and then him not showing up. What did he lay out on the steps for 40 minutes?
Well, here's the thing, though. They're vampires, and they didn't want to reveal themselves to a certain point. They probably wanted.
Maybe that is an issue where let's wait for the sun to go down, and then we'll get his ass.
I think they were waiting.
If that is the case, I feel so much better about it.
I mean, because why would they immediately go in there? Because then they would lay their cards on the table immediately.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and look, I just want to.
Yeah, maybe they're waiting to get a couple drinks in them, so
They're getting them loosey goosey. Then they show the performance of Satanic and Pandemonium.
If
which,
you put it like that,
if you really think about it, what she was doing was kind of mesmerizing them.
Yeah.
Kind of.
all
Like
right,
a vampire
maybe
would
you're
do.
right. Look, he just kicked my ass. Let me sit back and wait. I know we're going to get their
the old
asses.
razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, if it was a real bar and he was a real person, that would not be the case.
That makes me feel a little better just talking it out.
No,
I think I needed to talk that out.
That breakthrough.
Yeah, because that was like one thing. I'm like, oh my god, that like.
All right,
why?
so that was
one.
That was a couple minutes. I charged $75 a minute.
Yeah.
So.
That I had a problem with that. That was part of my problem with the first time. I was like, okay, you're just gonna walk up and punch this guy in the face, blah blah blah.
Well,
which leads me to, I'm sorry.
I think the reason he did it, doesn't he call Juliette Lewis apple pie pussy? Mm-hmm. And I think because they kind of...
That may have something to do with, because he says apple pie pussy, and then they kind of go, and then once he says hey hey and puts his hands on him, and that's when he's like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, get your hands off me.
Yeah. Which he didn't like the guy in the bar that put his
hand on him.
Because he said he was going to smash the bottle over his head after he finished
So
drinking
listen,
it.
but no, I get all that.
He's got an anger problem.
I get all that. I totally do, but that part always seemed too over the top
Yeah,
for me.
sure.
And look, I know that's ridiculous to say that there's anything too over the top for this movie.
Yeah, there's a giant rat monster vampire.
Well, that's a good point though. What you're saying though is
It
because
is.
because this dialogue and things that are happening before then put the movie in a certain category where you're like, okay, I'm expecting a certain thing, and then when the over the top stuff happens, it's like, yeah, your brain's going back and forth between two different movies.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm
It is.
expecting these things. So like in this particular movie where they're having this intense dialogue and there's this relationship and this character building, I expect certain things. And then it's like, oh, in this over the top movie where people are just blowing each other away and shit's catching on fire and stuff, this would happen. But yeah,
So
trying to
now
make the
my
marriage.
second
Yeah, what's your second?
nitpicking element
Okay.
is it has to do with the second phase of this movie, which now we're in this blowing shit up, gore, vampire makeup, the whole thing. I cannot... I don't know how to say this politely. I cannot accept... No, that's mean.
That's all right. We can edit it. You can give it a couple goes. Just
Okay.
from the heart.
I have never been able to get over the transitions.
Okay, that was mean. We're gonna cut that. I want to mark this. Okay, you got another go.
The human to vampire transitions.
Okay.
The transformations.
Okay. Like the effect of it. You
The
mean?
effect, the look
It's
of it.
not great.
The look of it. Now, it may have been a situation where maybe, because I know all of these guys, Tarantino, Rodriguez, I know they're all fans of old school cinema, old school effects. They grew up watching the masters and now they've become masters themselves. I get where they're drawing their inspiration. So maybe there was some intent there where it's like, oh, let's use this style. I always wanted to use this style of visual effects.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a part of it. But when I look at this movie, I love the makeup. I love the over-the-top gore effects. I love the decapitated heads and the arrows through the eyes and the explosions and the blood and the guts and the naked vampires and the whole thing. I love the way that all the vampires kind of look different.
Yeah.
I love all the fun that they had, but I could never embrace the transformations.
Yeah.
That was the one thing. It was like,
Yeah.
if I could just make one edit to this film, that would just be it. I would just tweak that.
It always reminds me of, although it's not quite as bad as. Have you guys seen the original The Stand, the TV movie?
Yeah.
When Randall Flagg,
Oh yeah.
he gets mad and his face like morphs into the demon. It's kind of like that kind of effect, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I agree with you there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't ruin the movie for me.
Yeah.
It
He
just
he almost looks like.
The Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2.
Was it Vigo?
Oh yeah. There's
Vigo the
that.
Carpathian.
Yeah.
No.
I see what you're saying.
Who am I
And I
thinking
wonder,
of?
because when was this? 96? When did this come
96.
out? 96. So I think it was right around the time there was like they're kind of pushing some CG stuff.
It was there, but this was lower budget. This wasn't like a big.
Yeah, but it was also
big
KMB
thing.
doing it, which was kind of like.
But they
I mean,
weren't doing the digital effects, I don't think, yet.
Oh,
I think they were still pushing against. Probably someone else did that.
Okay.
I bet someone else did
I wonder if it was like their chance to kind of experiment with them, because like
Maybe,
their practical shit's like awesome.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
wonder if they
yeah,
were
yeah.
trying to like
Branch
keep up
out.
with the times and just see what it's all about. I don't know.
It looked like what's his name? Philo in UHF.
Oh,
The scientist from UHF.
when he turns into the
Oh,
alien.
yeah.
when he walks off towards the camera
Yeah.
after the telethon and they raise
Yes.
enough money and then his face claymation transforms into an alien.
Or back to Slaughter High. We could talk about the Slaughter High.
yeah.
Stop motion melting
Yeah.
face or whatever.
And look, I feel kind of like, borderline embarrassed even bringing those two elements up. But those are the two little things about this movie that,
Hey, you
for
like what
whatever
you like
reason,
and you don't like what
Yeah.
you don't like.
Yeah, but overall, I'm a fan of this film. I enjoy this movie. It's a fun movie when you just kind of, like Justin said, just let yourself go and just be in the moment and don't overthink it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just it always clicked with me from the beginning. I don't know. I like
because you got it.
I guess, which
You
is
got the touch.
Yeah, I got the power.
So why do you think the vampires all did look so drastically different? What do you think their creative explanation for that would be?
You know, and I was thinking about that. I just made like a fart noise. I was like thinking about that.
Perfect timing.
We're currently watching the film in the background.
Sitting on the toilet
Juliette
in the
Lewis
RV.
is sitting on the toilet. That was not planned. Justin just observed that was going on. I like Cheech's little, as he's closing the door, he's like
extra little
peeking. What the fuck was I talking about?
I forget.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was always on board with the hard genre switch in this movie. I loved that aspect, and I always have.
No, that's not what we were talking about.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
The styles of the different vampires.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Did you always like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot where we
We're back
were.
on track then.
Woo! Man,
You know what movie we watched?
I love movies with RVs in them.
I love the part when he gets stabbed and it's in Vietnam, but then he wakes up and he's a mailman.
What?
It's not even the right movie, Mike.
Oh.
Where you been?
So yeah, Mike, why do you think what was their creative explanation for why the vampires look so different?
Thinking about that either earlier today or yesterday for the purpose of discussion, because I thought that would come up. I don't know if that's something I should have researched beforehand.
Well, take your time.
Perhaps
We do it now.
perhaps
We'll come back to you at the end
because I
Circle
don't
back.
know enough about like Mexican folklore. Maybe it has something to do with that, with their like, because you know a lot of countries have their own
There's
twists on
different creatures.
Creatures,
like,
yeah.
Even
So-
like you have Bigfoot and then you have Yeti
Yes.
and Wendigo. I don't know if they're all
Right.
related, but people definitely have their own visions. Even vampires, have different nations have
right.
different.
So maybe it's a cultural thing. You know, it's their vampire lore. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
it could be.
I'm not sure.
That's actually a really good point. I never even thought about that.
Or even if it's not, they could say it is.
Yeah, make it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that take on the vampires. Well, and it kind of not so much the look of them, but the ferocity, more animalistic side.
Yeah.
Like 30 Days of Night. How they're
I don't remember that much.
oh wow, really? They're just very. They're not elegant. They have
just like demonic.
They're just like full of teeth.
Yeah.
Like they have like rows of like needle teeth, and they just rip throats out. And they just go on a killing spree. They're very animalistic, and
monstrosities.
That's what they're like in From Dusk Till Dawn. I think they lure all these bikers and truckers who no one will miss.
I just realized something. I'm watching this, and it shows it, and it's like, this place out in the middle of nowhere. But that scene, that wide-angle scene where it showed a highway, like, right behind it.
Did
There was,
it?
like, cars going down the highway. Where if you remember the end of the movie, that's kind of like, no, that's not what was there.
Yeah.
But maybe that just means it's a place out of time and space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be.
All right, so Rodriguez stated that Mexican culture has a rich vampire tradition, but that the film never fully explored this detail.
Okay.
So then they get into they tell us a little about the tradition. I don't know how to say this word. Cihuateteo. No. Cihuateteo.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one.
Cihuateteo are spirits of women who died in childbirth who seduce their male prey at earthly feeding grounds. Much like
Santanico Pandemonium.
Yes, thank you. Lures men into her strip club.
Yeah.
The
There you
hero
go.
twins are the protagonists of the Maya epic, the Popovu, in which they must fight the bat creature Kamazats
Christ.
in the House of Bats.
There you go.
Rodriguez would eventually incorporate the twins' connection to the Gecko Brothers in the TV series based on the film.
It's something I wanted to talk about.
In the show, the vampires called Sulabras are snake-like
They're a snake. Yep.
rather than bat-like,
Yep.
in a nod to Mesoamerican serpent imagery.
Be Mesoamerican.
Whatever.
Yes, the show. I think that ran for 3 seasons. I don't think they've gone past 3.
What show?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, okay.
I watched the first season. Angel and I watched that. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's basically like the movie, but kind of stretched out over 10 episodes. But it works. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a retelling, but again, there's lots of differences. There's lots more fleshing out of characters, like the Gecko Brothers. Pat, you might like that because you said you wanted to see more of that.
Yeah, I would love that.
And like you said, they're not really vampires. They're like serpent type creatures, but very vampire-like. I liked it, but I never continued on with the season 2 and 3. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sure I do know why. Her and I started to watch the second season. We put on like the first episode, and we forgot so much from the first season. We didn't know what was going on, so I would have to do a rewatch. But we both were into the first season.
Yeah.
So it's worth checking out.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Are you sure? Yeah.
So I always thought my impression of this, because anybody who knows me knows that I am a Quentin Tarantino fan.
You are?
But he is very much hit or miss in this film for me.
His
acting or his script?
No, not a script.
Okay.
His acting, his presence.
Yeah, there's stuff where he's really good, and there's times where I'm like, oh, dude.
In this or in general? Because I think he's an awful actor.
He's not.
I think this is the best thing he's ever been in.
Well, yeah, I think
too.
you're probably right.
I do
what
too.
else is he real? I mean, this is probably the biggest thing he's ever been.
I don't want to do Mr. Brown. That's too close to Mr. Shit.
This is probably his biggest role.
Yeah, I mean, he's
in like the first 2/3 of the movie, basically. More than roughly half, maybe a little more than half.
But yeah, there's sometimes that I watch this movie and I see him, well, sometimes of my 3, that I watch this movie and I'm like, like I just feel, I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little embarrassed.
I don't think he's that bad.
He did. I think he did a really good job of being a cretin because he's kind of a cretin.
I think for the most part he's fine. There's a couple cringeworthy times, but. Yes. Overall, it's not that bad.
But then again, I guess maybe that's why they took the character so far off the rails, because he really couldn't mess it up. When you make that much of a weirdo, like creep, it's like, just act weird and creepy.
Just be you, Quentin.
Just be you, Quentin.
And that's, I don't know why, but it's like one of my favorite Danny Trejo roles of all time.
Yeah, he's great in it.
And it's such a small part.
It's a very small part, but
it's funny though. He looks more clean cut in this role than
his hair's shorter.
Yeah, he looks like he actually showered before coming to work.
But yeah, watching Full Tilt Boogie, man, going back to... Yeah,
Boogie Man.
Yeah, Full Tilt Boogie Man. Full Tilt Boogie, man. They had a blast making this movie.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's lots of behind-the-scenes stuff, and the only big hiccup they had was unions trying to shut them down.
Yeah, because this was a non-union.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they were on their ass.
So even Clooney did it, being non-union?
Yeah. I don't know how they managed that. I don't know how. But yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, you would think that... I mean, was Rodriguez not in a union yet? Like, why would they have done this?
I'm kind of trying to think why, like... I was thinking about this earlier, too, like the star power that's in this.
Yeah.
But at the time in 96, did all these people have the star power?
No, I don't think so.
George Clooney, the only thing he did was ER. That anyone
well, I'm not even talking about Clooney. I'm talking about, like, Savini was a wizard in his craft, but nobody knew who the fuck he was.
Yeah, like we did.
Outside the,
But this was like when he finally like has like an iconic,
machine.
And that's one of the KMB guys there, isn't it? With
that's
the knife?
Nicotero.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Greg Nicotero.
Yeah.
He was also in Body Bags, right? Wasn't he one of the guys walking the dog?
Yeah.
Yes, oh, yeah,
with
that's
the long
right.
flowing hair. Yeah.
They became elements like Savini and Sex Machine, pop culture icons. Nobody knew. I mean, yes, he did Friday the 13th and all that stuff back then, but people didn't know him.
The thing that made me think about it is that, like, when I was looking online, like on IMDb or something, it had all the red carpet thing, thing. I was like, man, there's a lot of stars I went to go
Yeah.
see this. But I was like, even those stars, I don't know where they were at in their careers. Like Mira Sorvino was there because I think she was dating Quentin Tarantino or something at the time.
Really?
And I don't know, there's a bunch of other people that were like in association with, like it had Anthony Edwards and and Noah Wiley or Noah, what was his name?
Yeah,
is?
Noah Wiley, yeah.
From ER were there, like supporting George Clooney. And stuff, so. It's also weird. This is like a weird movie for George Clooney to do because, like,
Well, I think, I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg in this case. Tarantino directed an episode of ER.
okay,
So did he direct that and then say, hey, George, I'm doing this movie?
probably, yeah.
Or did he do this movie and then George Clooney was like, hey, you should direct an episode of ER? I lean toward he did ER first and met
probably,
George
yeah.
Clooney.
Because I feel like he has a way of just like charming people. And be like, hey,
Yeah.
let's do this fun thing. They're like, yeah, I like fun.
I mean,
things.
if Quentin
So, yeah.
Tarantino asked me to be in one of his movies, I'd be like, I'll think about it.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about.
We'd have to talk. We'd have to go over the numbers.
Let's talk numbers, yeah.
Let's talk about George Clooney for a minute.
Let's do that.
He's been in the game for a long time,
He has.
he's been in the game 20 years before like it popped for him.
Yes.
Which is just
What was he in?
astounding.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, or
I mean, yeah, going way back.
Yeah, Return to the Killer Tomatoes.
I think it's Return.
And he was
Is-
in
78 was his first credit.
Return to Horror High.
Grizzly 2, Revenge in 83, Riptide, Street Hawk, then ER. Oh, the original ER.
What?
There was like
The what?
a British ER. or
Yeah,
something, I
original
think. There
ER
was, like,
from
two different
84
ERs.
to 85.
The
Yeah.
what?
TV series.
Or maybe not British show, but I know there was a different one.
E/R.
I did not know that at all.
Do you want to take a break and watch a couple episodes?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we'll come back.
Return to Horror High in 87.
I've never seen that
Murder,
one.
She Wrote, a couple
There's-
episodes.
there's-
Golden Girls, that's right, he was in that. He played.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
I was also in Golden Girls.
I know.
So I think that is it's a bit of revisionist history here in that we look at George Clooney now and we know him as the Hollywood icon, superstar,
A-lister.
yeah. But at the time,
Heartthrob.
he was really only doing ER at that point.
Yeah.
And actually, when did he start ER?
ER was like such a huge phenomenon, though.
When was ER?
It was around. It was like before this. This is '96 because I was in my car accident in '94, or no, not '94. I think it was in my car. When the hell was in my car? I think it was in my car accident in '95.
Is that when you got your new eyes?
My new eyes. But anyway, that I remember because I remember I was sitting in the hospital watching ER when they came and I was like watching ER and there's like people bleeding and stuff. I was like, oh, that's gross. And then they came in and pulled my lung hose out.
Why can't I find ER on?
That's how I remember what was.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, 94 to 09.
Wow, it
So-
ran that long?
I mean, they probably filmed From Dusk Till Dawn in like 95. So maybe he was on like maybe a season and then he filmed this.
Yeah.
And
so-
then went back to ER.
But if
He wasn't a big deal then.
No, if you look at his films back then,
But everybody was talking about him.
Everybody knew who he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, he was finally starting to like catch because
Yeah.
he had been on Golden Girls and Friends
Well,
and all
holy
this.
shit, that was a good get for this film.
Yeah.
To, a big draw.
I'm still intrigued by how he was able to work non-union and not get blacklisted.
I don't know.
That seems risky.
I don't know.
Well, also, this is the guy that was like the best man at fucking Harvey Weinstein's wedding.
Was he?
Or something like I think he was in his. I don't know if he was his best man, but I think he was in his wedding. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's I was going to mention that because this was Dimension and that was
Yeah,
the
well, I think
Weinsteins.
Tarantino probably wouldn't be who he was today without Weinstein.
Oh
No,
I don't
no.
think so. No. I'd be curious though. I'd be curious
where his
if he
career would've-
got wrapped up with someone else, like how his life in films.
Yeah.
would have
Because
been
I
different.
think was True Romance, was that who produced that?
That wasn't. I don't think that was
Because he had already gotten his claws
I
into
think that
Hollywood.
was a bigger.
Now he may have just continued to be a writer,
Yeah,
so
he may have never gotten his directing break.
I kind of honestly think he would have figured it out one way or another. Even
may
if
have.
he was like doing independent films his entire
It
life.
would have turned out way differently though.
Yeah.
So yeah, any listeners out there, if you know the scoop, like how Tarantino's career could have been different if Harvey Weinstein was not
a factor.
a factor, we would love to hear about it. So hit us up on, what are we on?
Oh.
Twitter?
Crack?
Yeah, crack. Other than crack, what are we on? Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.
Twitter, at MacGuffin Guild. Facebook.
Just search
Look us
for
up
the
on Facebook.
MacGuffin Guild and give our page a like.
Discord.
Discord.
That's all you, Justin.
It is. I've been posting stuff on there. I don't know if you guys have been watching it.
No, I saw it.
Okay, did you see the thing I put
Box
about...
of Moonlight?
Yeah, you saw that?
I did see that. I never watched that trailer before until you sent it.
I watched it because it was like topical, and I was like, oh shit, I do remember this trailer, but I want to watch it.
Oh, did you remember it?
I'm super excited about catching up on that guy's stuff because, anyway, we're getting off topic. We're talking about something else, but yeah, we're doing stuff on there. There's things happening.
Yes, there is exciting
things happening, baby.
But anyway, we would love to hear if we're missing something about the connection between Weinstein and Tarantino and how things, the what ifs, how things could have been different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just Tarantino. A lot of things would have been different in the film world because I mean, the Weinsteins were they were a part of a lot of things, and it's a shame because you have that. You kind of have to give yourself that disconnect to still enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, yeah, Harvey Weinstein was involved, but so were hundreds of other people. So it's kind of unfair to discredit all their work because of him.
It's just a damn shame.
It is. It is. Yeah. Those kind of situations suck.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the Kevin Spacey stuff. I
Right.
fucking loved Kevin Spacey's shit, and now I hear about him. I was like, God damn it, dude, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, man, if you really want to get down, and this isn't to justify anyone's actions because you shouldn't be a shithead, but like, if you really start digging deep into like who your heroes are and stuff like that, like I remember just like hearing stuff about like Led Zeppelin and David Bowie and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's not unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, I don't know how much that's true or if it's story.
Well,
Allegedly.
And that's the thing too. Like, sometimes those things turn out to be true. Sometimes they're never proven, but there's still that like.
I think
maybe it did happen still.
The number one example of this pre-Harvey Weinstein,
Michael Jackson.
Michael fucking Jackson.
I knew you were going to go there because that. Yeah.
Michael Jackson holds a special place in my heart.
Same
Anybody
here.
who knows me, I fucking love Michael Jackson. There will never be another Michael Jackson.
No.
He is my Elvis Presley, and there's times even I have to like convince myself, I'm sure some of it's not true. But deep down in my heart of hearts, he was not a normal man, and I think he dealt with some shit, and I think, and it's not to excuse it at all, but I think he's done some shit that I would be fucking ashamed of to respect anyone who lives that kind of life. However, his art, if you separate the human being from the art, I think it's a hell of a lot easier to live your life.
And some people can't do that. And I understand it. Like, I do. Yeah. I think some people are too extreme with that, but that's them.
But you can't blame them either.
No.
Because there's times where I feel like I should lean that way.
Yeah, and like I said, I understand it.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah, that's another example. H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But
I don't know. That's different. H.P. Lovecraft.
It depends on who you're talking to.
I'll tell you why it's different, because H.P. Lovecraft was a xenophobe, but never really did anything to anyone. Where fucking like Roman Polanski actually. Like,
maybe that's a valid
child.
Point.
So that's a big.
Well, do we know that for a fact that he never?
I think he admitted to it on. I said
no. That H.P. Lovecraft never physically did anything to hurt anyone.
Well, but I don't know for a fact, but based on like the things I do know about him, I doubt he ever left his house that much. To even, you know, I think he was just he was a nerd that lived in his mother's attic. Like I honestly don't think he was capable. Yeah. And I don't even think it was like I don't think he hated people. Like I think
he just didn't know. It was very much like his writing. It was fear of the unknown.
Yeah, I think he was more what's it called xenophobic and stuff. He was. I don't think he was as racist as people think he was. I think he was just xenophobic because he was just like I don't fucking know, like you know what I mean. But not that saying that's good either.
Now,
it's not,
but in his defense, later on in life when he married I forget the lady he married who was Jewish.
Yeah.
And then he moved to New York City for a while. And then he started to travel. He started going around and stuff. And I think his views started to soften.
Yeah.
And I've often said to people, had he survived past the end of World War II.
When did he die? What age?
He was like 30.
So he was young.
I thought he was in his 40s.
Maybe he was like 40.
Yeah.
Still young.
He was like, maybe he was like around our age.
Oh, God, he's that old?
Yeah, like 70,000 years old.
No, but seriously, though, even if he died in his 40s, he was that young.
Yeah. He died in the late 30s.
Well, Robert E. Howard, who wrote like Conan and
Yeah.
all that stuff, died in his 20s.
Yeah.
Like he committed suicide
He
at
killed
like
himself.
22 or
He
23
killed
or
himself.
something like
Yeah.
that. Look that up, people. I don't know.
Yeah, he was young.
It's in his 20s. I was shocked at the
That
body
is-
of work he had
that
when
is
he died.
bonkers.
I've always said to people, had Lovecraft lived to see the end of World War II, I think his views would have softened even more. I think a lot of people's views changed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look, I want to take this topic into somewhere more like
Vampire related.
no, 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 not
I thought you
vampire.
were trying to swing us back on track.
No, we will in a minute, but more like broad. I think this is an interesting topic to touch on. At what point, because you hear this all the time, especially in politics, and I don't want to get political here, but sometimes you hear when the youth speaks out, the old heads tend to say, oh, well, they're too young. What do they know? They haven't lived yet.
that's every generation.
But
that
then
happens.
you hear about, I mean, let's think about, even in our lifetime, some of the icons that have lived and have literally changed the world. Now, may it be with music or with art, but they've literally changed the world. And then you think about, like, even going back to our forefathers, like the Alexander Hamiltons, who by 22 years old, I believe, and I might be slightly off here, but by his early to mid 20s is literally laying the foundation for the financial structure of a new country.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You
Yeah.
know, how can you say that he wasn't ready? You know, I think it's unfair to say, oh, 20-year-olds speaking out, oh, they don't know. They haven't lived yet. Yeah, that's totally unfair.
It's all also life experiences are a huge factor.
Yeah.
I mean, your surroundings and just what you're exposed to. I think now, obviously now,
yeah.
there's no excuse because the whole world is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You can find out anything you want to know.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of
However,
misdirection.
there's a lot
there,
of
too.
misinformation. You have to be smart enough to
You gotta dig down deep.
through. Yeah.
I think a lot of that is having
But
your metal tested too. Like,
They
it's
didn't
like,
have that option.
Yeah, like a lot of our founders of our country are like, here's something new in your life, you have to fucking deal with it. But I'm just saying,
No, that's
that never really had to have their metal tested. And
never
there's other
struggled.
people, there's other people that really were put in sticky situations where they had to make a call, and it was bad either way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they had to really grow from it.
Yeah.
But that, when you think about what Justin just said, brings me to the topic of vampire titties.
Yeah, there we are.
yeah.
So
Look how mesmerized everyone is. I like how everyone's like way into it until. All right, let's go ahead. I'm not gonna.
And we always say this, but if you've never watched listened to an episode, we always have the movie running in the background just so we can kind of take it in. Mm-hmm. And
so
kinda,
yeah, it helps us steer the ship.
Yeah. So right now we're at the Santanico Pandemonium scene, which is the Salma Hayek, who we have not mentioned, doing her little snake dance.
But this is what I will say. If there was, and I think you guys
Teenage Mike
would
liked
agree
this
with
scene
me.
a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
And also 41-year-old Mike likes this scene a lot.
I think if you were to, if I were to ask you a question, like out of the blue, let's say a month ago, I were to give you guys a blank piece of paper and say, I have one question for you. I'm going to rattle off some movies, and you're going to write down what pop culture iconic moment comes to mind when you think of said movie. I feel like for a lot of people that Salma Hayek with her snake
I think so too.
Oh, yeah.
would be the moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of the climax of the film as well too. It's like a turning point. There's a lot of
sure
things
is.
happening right here.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, not to be like.
And it definitely is for Quentin Tarantino, because he gets that damn foot all up in his
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything away from Salma Hayek because I think she's incredibly talented.
She really-
she did the
she
Freedom
is.
movie and all that
Yes.
stuff and all that.
Absolutely.
But on top of all that, she has to be one of the most baberific babes
Oh, man.
of our time.
She's amazing.
Like she's like
She's a goddess.
yeah, she's like of some other world, like
Yeah.
attractive. Like she's on a whole nother level of attractiveness.
Like we were watching this, and I wanted to point out that when I told Angel and her son Eddie that we were doing this. Angel gave me a high five. She was like, "Good choice." And then Eddie was like, "Oh yeah, I like that movie." He's like, "I've only seen it once, but I really
So do you all watch it together?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
See, I love this.
Yeah.
The MacGuffin Guild, it's a bonding experience for families.
We bring families together so they can watch the events unfold at the Titty Twister.
But as
where you can find Nogahad
even
pussy.
Even Angel was like, "I know you love this scene." She's like, "Look at her body." It's like she was even like, "Jesus."
Yeah, so I feel like that would be the moment that a lot of viewers would summarize as their pop culture iconic moment of this film.
It's definitely a highlight. Like people, it stands out.
The other thing, it certainly does.
I was just thinking too, as we were sitting here talking about what I've said. I'm like, I'm not trying to take anything away from her because she's really smart, and she did that Freedom movie. That was my big thing, and I just moved on. Like I just picked the thing where like she played an artist one time in a thing. I didn't go into her whole body of work.
Yeah,
But no, man, she's great.
Go ahead.
There's another moment for me that I see as what I envision in the back of my head as the pop culture iconic visual of this film.
Okay.
I would love to know if you guys can take a guess. What comes to your mind? I'm going to pretend like I'm giving you that blank piece of paper.
Okay, so as we always say, spoiler alert. Is it the very end of the movie?
It is not.
Okay.
From this film,
but I'm curious if yours is. I would love to hear it from this exact film.
So
if I were to get given you a blank piece of paper and said, "Hey, right now," we'll take the Salma Hayek thing out of this because we've already talked about it. But other than that, what is the visual pop culture iconic moment or thing or something that when you think of the movie, what do you see in your mind's eye?
I think Titty Twister. That's the facade of the bar
pulling
itself.
up to it.
Yeah, because it's all the neon lights and the fire going off. Yeah, for me.
What do you think, Justin?
Aside from this, I think of the ending when the after all the shit's done and everything, and there's that overhead shot where it just pulls away, and you see that it's actually like a ziggurat or whatever with all these like. You see all the old trucks and stuff.
It's an Aztec temple.
Yeah, there's like blood splatter and shit on some of the steps. Did you ever notice?
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think of that all the time.
Yeah.
Because
that is a
for
pretty good image.
Reasons, yeah.
You want to know what mine is for some odd reason?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really an odd reason. I mean, it's probably pretty clear because maybe I bought into the marketing. Even watching the film, there's this right there, the iconic moment with Clooney pointing a gun at the camera.
Yeah.
Like, I get that visual all the time in my head.
I think that's on the cover of one of the releases.
It's on the cover. It's at the beginning of the movie before they get to the Titty Twister. And then we just saw a flash of it again at the Titty Twister. It's this thing they kept doing.
Yeah.
With
it's aggressive.
Yeah. And it really, like, sells his character. But that's, like, for some odd reason, that's the pop culture iconic visual that I get from this movie.
I think most people, if they saw that image, if they're at all familiar with the movie, they'd be like, "Oh, that's from Dusk Till Dawn," you know.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Especially if you see like the tattoo on his neck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that itself is iconic because George Clooney with a tattoo on his neck.
Yeah. Let's talk about Harvey Keitel.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on Harvey?
I love Harvey.
The good
Keitel.
Harvey.
Yeah. I think he's great in this movie.
I think he's great in general.
I do
I'll
too.
watch anything with Harvey Keitel in it.
I like his character's arc in this movie.
Yeah.
He kind of has to regain his faith to help him battle the vampire, help all of them battle the vampires.
How did he know so much about vampires when he got bit? How did he know how much time precisely he would have?
Well, I think
when some of them literally transformed in a matter of minutes.
Now I want you to all listen here. We have exactly 46 minutes and 36 seconds before I turn into a vampire, and we have exactly 43 minutes and 19 seconds before they break through that door.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's what we need to do.
He seemed to know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. He just kind of said, we don't have much time. I'm going to turn.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he also was watching how long it was taking the other ones to turn.
No, but the other ones, some of them turned like instantly.
But none of them were men of faith.
True.
As far as he knew.
And that was another thing that I thought of. I liked
his faith delayed it.
I liked his character so much, I didn't want him to die. Yeah. I feel bummed that he kind of died. And what I thought was, man, Wouldn't it have been a cool little twist if after he
Titty twist.
Yeah, titty twist. After he got bit, and then he gets his faith back and everything. What if that staved it off, like saved him from turning?
I see where you're coming.
I don't know if it would have worked,
Yeah.
but they could have.
I think I would have been the pussy way out there.
It would have. I didn't care that his son died. I hated that character. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that might be why he didn't have many acting roles after that, which is sad. I
not
hope, yeah.
very good in this. You want to talk about Tarantino being cringy here and there? Ugh.
You know, and maybe that's unfair to Tarantino. I think because I know Tarantino is a genius at his craft, at his specific craft, at writing and directing and burglary. But maybe it's because I hold Tarantino to a higher standard, and maybe that's unfair.
Yeah.
And maybe because I say, oh, he's so good at writing and he's so good at directing, why can't he fucking act?
Well, you also remember, this was earlier on in his career. I mean, what did he had Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. I don't even think he did Jackie Brown yet.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, he would have written True Romance.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
so he's been in the Hollywood scene.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's never had such an extensive acting role.
No.
It's like a Mitch Hedberg bit when he was talking about, like, he's like, yeah, it sucks when you're a comedian because they always want you to, like, do other things. Like, can you act? And he's like, it's not like you go to a cook and be like, hey, can you farm?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so the Nicotero Savini standoff scene was one that really jumped out at me this time.
It's classic.
It is classic.
That's classic. That's an image there, the pistol.
That's true too. That's
iconic.
I have a story about
pop
that,
culture.
too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Carry on. I want to hear it.
So, I might have told this before on here, but so stop me if you heard this one.
No, go on. Stop. Just kidding.
124.
Mike, don't yawn right into the mic.
Yeah.
I tried to back up, but it was just so powerful.
I'm sorry.
There was Monster Mania, 2006. No, I don't know what year it was, but we went to Monster Mania one year, and Tom Savini was there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I met him at Monster Mania once.
He was just super cool, too. He's a super nice guy. And we were there, and he had the Jason's mask up on the wall behind him, and it said, make me an offer.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow.
Were you like, $2?
I have $16.
Yeah, I have $38 left after all the autographs I bought.
Only 2.
Yeah.
So I went in, and then but he also had the gun from this movie sitting on the table. Mm-hmm. And then so we went up, and
I'd never heard this story.
And a mutual friend that won't be named, Chris Wilson, went up and said,
I do remember this story.
Yeah, he's like,
but this wasn't podcast, so continue. I love this.
He's
story.
like, what do you want for that? And he's like pointing to the crotch gun. He's like, what are you gonna? And Tom Savini, he's like, what are you gonna do with that? And Chris is like, I mean, this person was like, I don't know, wear it around. It was just like a weird exchange. It was just so like plain. It was like, how much for that? I don't know. What are you gonna do it? I don't know, wear it around. Like, it was just so like it was just sitting there. I think Tom Savini was like, what the fuck? It was like the funniest thing. Yeah. It was like Chris, like, and I was like, yeah, I kind of see him wearing it around. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
that would be. We probably wouldn't even notice.
He would have answered his door to his apartment.
Yeah, just had a gun on his pecker.
Yeah, that's definitely an iconic image.
So the band, as soon as all hell broke loose, how did they get body part instruments so quickly?
Know.
They manifested it.
That would be my third bit of nitpickiness.
But I think at that point in the movie, it's just like anything goes. Like, I don't think anything has to make sense.
It was an illusion.
And then,
I just wish maybe they would have waited a couple minutes to show the band,
and then
to like let us think, oh, okay, they just killed one of the truckers and made us and strung his and put strings on his.
Could they have done that quick though?
No, they couldn't.
Yeah.
Watching this with no volume, I'm picking up a lot of visual stuff I didn't notice before. And one thing I did like about that is the bridge of the guitar is a jawbone.
Oh yeah, nice.
So, and then speaking of the band, they commit suicide. They explode themselves.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. But
fuck
you know what?
Good night.
Yeah, fuck you. Good night. It's great. I don't care.
Oh, you want to know one of the minor filmmaking aspects that I never understood? Just the minor little decisions. after Clooney stabs one of the vampires, it's a low angle shot shooting up towards Clooney.
Okay.
After he stabs one of the vampires, there's this weird dissolve from George Clooney to George Clooney a foot over.
What?
Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's like a weird dissolve, like as he stabs them and the camera's looking up at him, and then he starts to back away, and then there's a dissolve as he backs a half a step further back than he was. And I never understood that moment. In fact, I think it's coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever caught that.
I also really like, you got these vampires.
Yeah.
I like that big one.
Yeah, what's up with that one?
She's awesome.
So watch, Mike. So everybody at home, this is we're at the about 1 hour 7 or 1 hour 8 minute mark of the film here. So we got 4 guys going against 4 vampires.
Stripper vampires.
Vampires.
Dancers.
Yeah.
Dancers.
Let's not offend the vampires.
They're not strippers.
So right here, he stabs her, blood sprays in the air, and then watch the weird dissolve from this moment to that moment.
Yeah.
And then again, there was another one, a dissolve where he's just gone.
Maybe it's fixing, and maybe it was fixing something.
Why?
I wonder if
I
they
don't
didn't
know.
like the original cut and we'll just make it like a dream. I don't know. That is weird. I don't know. I'd be curious
That's
to
the
hear.
things that I lose sleep over, though.
I'm sorry.
Those moments. Like, why cut that? It's such a short moment. You could have even cut it early or slow-mode it.
Yeah.
Like, there's other... I'm always curious, what are you trying to tell me?
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe.
What cues are you trying to give me with that moment?
Maybe, hell, it could be something as obscure as Rodriguez or Tarantino saw that in a movie once. It was
you're right.
a bad edit or whatever, and they're like, let's imitate that. Let's throw that in
an
there.
ode to
I didn't dislike
it.
it. You know what I mean?
It could be. Knowing them, it very well could be.
But those are the things that
keep you awake at night.
Yeah. So I felt bad. I felt bad for Sex Machine at first. How he obviously. I almost said Julie Louis Dreyfus, but that's not her. Juliette Lewis.
I really like Juliette.
She is fantastic in this.
Yes, and how Sex Machine, when they start like going to it, like, you know, fighting off the vampires, he like starts to develop a connection with her, and that's what ultimately ends up getting him killed.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him in the moment.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's a shame.
Yeah.
You know, it's a man named Sex Machine, and then women bring him down.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Her character, man, and she must have been. I looked up her like when she was born. At the time of this, she must have been like 22, 23.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like when I saw this as a kid, I imagined her older.
When did...
Well, because you were younger than her.
Yeah,
There's always that weird, like, I do that when I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, these people are like, oh, they're all adults, and then, you know, I'm 8 years old watching a movie, and I watch it as an adult, I'm like, they're all fucking babies, dude.
Yeah.
They're like 20.
She was a baby.
Like when I watched
this.
Goonies, I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I'm that old.
Yeah. Yeah, like, fucking
But
pieces of
did
What? what was that? Just?
whole world ahead of them.
Oh yeah.
Fucking breaking rocks.
They got it so
Shit with
tough.
Nothing.
oh man, what was I gonna ask?
You gotta be my
What were you just talking about? Oh, their age.
Juliette Lewis.
Juliette
I
Lewis.
almost did it again. I heard it.
I know. I'm so close. I'm like, I keep going back to Christmas Vacation for some reason.
She's awesome. I like what you're
Get
thinking.
my point.
You'll figure it out. So it was. I liked her in like everything. Like, was she in Strange Days?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I liked her in Strange Days.
She's the ex-girlfriend of what's his name?
Gary Sinise.
No,
fucking. I knew it's Nick. Why would I even say that? I know for a fact it's not him. It's
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah,
Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. Yeah.
Rafe Fiennes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right.
Michael Wincott's in that movie. That makes it automatically awesome.
Yeah, Michael Wincott's great.
I love that movie.
Me too. I would love to watch it sometime and discuss it.
Okay.
Maybe that might be my pick next week.
Maybe it should be.
All right, that's set. So anyway, I liked her in that. I like her in California. I think she's awesome, dude. She's such a great actress, man.
God damn it. Natural Born Killers?
Yeah, Natural Born Killers.
So that came out in 94.
Yeah, that was
she was in that.
She was even younger than this.
So she was born in. Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now.
She's 73.
73. How did you know that?
I told you I looked it up to see how old she would have been
to you.
in this, because this was 96, so she would have been like 20, probably 22 when they filmed it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Do you look at her and you think she's 22 years old in this? I love this vampire with the mutilated legs.
Oh yeah, no legs. Yeah.
I think I did hear or see it somewhere that he actually is like a double amputee.
Think, yeah. It would
They
make
just
sense.
Dressed his legs.
Yeah. The Fred Williamson story that he's telling is freaking hilarious.
That was awesome.
When it cuts away and he's just talking about Nam and
Like,
overly.
It's like imitating what he was doing. Yeah, that's great.
I am a little upset though that we're reaching a point in our life where like we're not going to have movies where people talking about stories when they were in Nam.
Yeah.
Though we did just watch VFW House.
Unless it's like a period piece type of film where it takes place in the 80s or 80s or 90s, so they could talk about being
like
in
my screenplay I'm writing. I told you guys about called Cooking with Craven.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it takes place in 1980. It's about a guy back. I don't want to give too much away, but you'll love it.
Yeah, lots of eggs.
Shit.
Lots of eggs.
Yeah.
Different types of cooking eggs.
with Craven.
It's amazing. Eggs is like electricity.
Eggs is like electric.
Are you a professional baseball player? That's like.
Wait, explain to me how eggs is like electricity.
90% of the game is half mental.
So let me explain. There is a point to this.
Okay.
Eggs is like electricity. Are you on the dope?
If we gave these episodes titles, this would be the title of this.
Eggs is like electricity.
Yep, and then colon from dusk till dawn.
That's gonna be the title of your biopic. You know what the title of your biopic's gonna be? Glowing Eyes of Aspiration.
It will be too.
Written by Janky Bone Shoes. Oh my god! Oh, I'm done.
Inside jokes.
Yeah.
Hang around with us long enough, and these things will start to make sense.
Yeah, it'll start to piece together.
I've been here for like 25 years, and none of it makes sense.
But let me tell you how.
Been here 25 years tonight alone.
Let me tell you how eggs is like electricity.
Please do.
That's totally gonna be like our new calling card. Yo, man, eggs is like electricity. And then just give a friendly nod, like, "Yep, I know."
Yeah, I know.
I'm hip to your game.
Let me tell you how. It always astounded me.
I know you can make electricity with a potato.
No, that's not even what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the concept of electricity.
God.
Okay, think about this. Electricity is so binary. There's either a signal or there's not.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's on or off.
Yep.
And if
This is already making way more sense than I thought it was going to.
if you break down then what electricity has given us in this world, our civilization,
Okay.
what electricity has given us, this simple thing, it could not be more simple. It's either on or off.
Yep.
Right? 1 or 0.
Yep.
That's it. You can, if you look at a car, you can roll your windows down. You turn on your car, and what the dashboard does now, how it lights up and glows, what computers do, what the internet does. The internet is run on the concept of binary electricity. Think about that.
Yeah.
Everything is binary if you break it down to its core. Eggs.
Enter the egg.
I still don't know where you're going with that.
You had me up until the end. But now I'm intrigued.
Up until the egg.
Yeah. Continue.
No,
please.
what I'm saying is,
What the fuck? I get it, but I have no idea what that has to do with vampires. But go ahead, I'm intrigued. Go ahead, I'm not going to cut you off.
Don't vampires hatch from eggs? Is that where we're going with this?
I think so. And certain folklore, yeah.
I'll just say this, and then we can get back to the movie.
Can we please?
No, don't cut it short.
I want full explanation.
What we have been able to accomplish with a simple egg. An egg is it's as binary as electricity. It's either hatched or it's not.
Okay.
And what we've been able to accomplish...
And when it's not hatched, we eat the shit out of it.
Yeah, but we do. Think about what we do with eggs. It's not just scrambled. It's not just fried. It's not just, French toast.
Deviled.
It's not just deviled. It's not just put into cakes and pies. You do so much with eggs. Mm-hmm. This binary thing. It's just one element to the big picture of us.
I've known you for a long time, and I've never pegged you as a pothead until right now. Are you fine? I've never seen you do any drugs, but right now I think you're on drugs. You're on drugs.
I'm not on drugs. No, I've just put a lot of thought into this.
My eyes almost popped out of my head.
What the fuck does that have to? What does any of that have to do with anything? I enjoyed it.
All right, so Sex Machine did a lot of.
Jesus Christ.
I am falling off of my face. Not just running down my face. Falling. I'm done.
All right. So, Sex Machine, he did a lot of damage as a vampire, didn't he?
You just did a lot of damage to me, man.
He went out in grand fashion. I like that you checked it off. Like, Sex Machine doing great damage. Done. I saw that.
Oh, my God, man.
Or were you checking off an egg analogy?
Yeah. Egg manifesto.
He was crossing that off of his set list.
Yeah, that was his bucket list.
I've been working on this for a long time.
Fuck up some people with my egg shit.
Oh, my God.
Check.
Holy shit. So, anyone listening to this, if whatever Pat just said made any fucking sense, can you let us know?
It's 2020, man. All bets are off.
Oh, come on. It made sense.
Until you start talking about the egg.
Yeah, I mean, there was moments that made sense.
If nothing else.
Like, collectively, it was a fucking train wreck. Like, you had a lot of, you were kind of, oh, it's some abstract concept. Like, all right, I'm with you. But then when you, pull it all together, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, wait a minute.
What's happening?
Don't you agree, though, that...
Oh, God. I love it.
I had to have at least helped enhance your appreciation for just the basic concept of electricity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and eggs.
And eggs. Thank you for joining us on the MacGuffin Guild. To ensure you don't miss anything, be sure to check out part 2 of this special Halloween episode where we continue to discuss From Dusk Till Dawn.
I raised you better than this.